Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Monica and this is the art of Momo. I'm Momo, and on today's video we are gonna talk about lighting and shading with a light source. First, I want to say that I'm not an expert or an artist. I just like coloring and to create interesting effects on my pages, and what I'm going to share with you today, it's my idea of and what it works for me when it comes to talking about shading with a light source. I'm gonna use this page right here that I print. I found these little mushrooms on Free Peak, and I found as well this print from Rita Prints on her Etsy shop. So I was going to use this as a practice print to maybe try some more color palettes or create new effects of my coloring. So I thought that it was a good idea to use it to show you what I want to show you today. But first we're gonna use this one. I'm gonna leave on the description down below the prints, the Etsy shop from Rita, so you can print it yourself if you are interested, and if you would like to use them as well for your coloring in general, as you like. When it comes to light sources, they can help you to create more realism or depth to an illustration I have right here. A couple examples. I have this one right here. Hold on. And this example right here. As well. This other one right here. So with light sources you can create more realism or give more volume to any object, like you can see here on the couch, or create some nice effects on an illustration to make it more interesting. I'm gonna be using prismas to be doing the demonstration of how to color with a light source. Prismas, and this is printed on Anina cardstock paper, if you would like to know. Sorry, I'm just moving around everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to start with these 3 illustrations, and to start I'm gonna pick my colors. I'm gonna do my first, I don't know why, but I'm looking at these mushrooms and they're talking me blue, so I'm gonna use true blue. This blue. Okay, I'm gonna use these 3 colors. Okay, so to start, we first need to place where our light source is coming from. Is it already on the page with an element that we want to make it shine or glow, or just have a light on it? Maybe it's a lamp or a candle, whatever. or you want to add a light source that is not actually showing on the page, like moonlight or daylight. It can be one of those options. So in this occasion I will be doing like the sun. It's gonna be right here, right here. I will do it here. It's there, but it won't be actually on the page. But I want to create some light effect on these mushrooms, so we are gonna suppose that the sun is gonna be on the left side of the page. Imagine that this is a big page. Depending on where you decide your light source to be, that's and what kind of light are you gonna be using for your illustration, that will affect what light are you gonna be using as a reflection, or how bright or vibrant is gonna be the highlights on the illustration. Okay, I'm gonna start with my medium shade, and we are gonna suppose that the sun is over there. Depending on the light source, that will I will be maybe starting with a medium shade just to place how bright my highlights are gonna be. It seems if it is a subtle light source, like maybe daylight or moonlight, for example, my reflections on the object is gonna be warm tones. When you have daylight or moonlight, your light source will be reflecting a subtle light on the object, so it's supposed to be cream, or at least a really subtle yellow or a warm color, and almost white, you can say. I'm gonna use cream, but because you cannot see the cream when you're using other colors until the end, I'm gonna start with a medium shade just to place where I want the colors to be. The shading, when it comes to a light source, doesn't need to be perfect to show on an element. You just need to be consistent on the elements that you're shading, so that will create the effect on the whole page, and you're gonna be able to show what you're going for. Like in this case, it's creating a subtle light coming from the left side. So at this point, I'm just mapping where my shadows are gonna be, where my highlights are gonna be, and how dramatic I want the look to be. You decide how dramatic your illustration is gonna be, depending on how much contrast do you use for an illustration. Right now I'm looking that it's not really dark, and I want some more contrast, so I'm gonna add an even dark color. Okay, so now I already placed my lights and shadows, and I'll be coloring like for like the final step, that I will be making the colors more vibrant so it can have more contrast and to show the effect of the light. So at this point I'm gonna introduce the cream, that it will be the tone of my light, because now it can show, you can see it because of the contrast that I'm creating. And on the other side, to make the colors more vibrant, I'm using high pressure. Not just because of the colors that needs to be more vibrant, it's as well because the paper is good in a way, but I need to put some pressure to make the colors to show. When you are doing your shading for a light source, or in general for any object, it's better to do the shadows with the form of the object. For example, this is maybe like an sphere object, so we are doing, I mean, the shape is more like that. I know that it has some bumps and makes it not uniform, but it's rounded. So because it is rounded, you want to do your shading with that shape so it can look realistic, or at least not realistic, but cohesive with the object that you're coloring. I want some more contrast, so I'll be using a darker color to make it show, and maybe do some more shadows around in between those two objects. So as well, to use, if you're using daylight or some moonlight, the sun, if your light source, stars, or the moon, you use really pastel colors to make the the highlights because they are more subtle. And now we're gonna do how I'm gonna color when my light source is something more vibrant. So when it comes to separating them on themes, it will be like nature lights, or daylight, moonlight, and some fire. Or you can use as well artificial lights and glowing objects as well. So those are gonna be more vibrant, more vivid, and you're gonna use any color that you will like that will reflect the light of the actual object. And that as well, you need as well to measure and see how much is your light going to be glowing or reflecting of an object. I decided to make it a light, really not a big and dramatic contrast between the highlights and the shadows. My highlights are in a little zone more than the dark point. I don't know, because maybe they are on the bushes and the sun is not showing too much, and that's why they don't have the reflection of that light so dramatic. But in this case we're gonna use maybe the light of fire, for example, or a lamp, and that will be here on this side. I'm gonna do these mushrooms purple, and the light, maybe it's a lamp that is here on the top. So we are gonna do the same process, and because you can start from whatever color you feel like. If you are sure of how deep your shadows are gonna be and what colors are you gonna use for those shadows, go for it and start from the darkest shade. But if you're not so sure where the placement of highlights and shadows are gonna be, it will be probably best to start with a medium light, a medium color for the element that you're coloring, so you can measure how much is the contrast going to be. I forgot, when I start these artificial lights or fire or glowing objects, I like to start by mapping where the light is going to reflect. Maybe it's here, but not on the top, because I imagine that something is here on this side right here, like covering. The light is big enough to cover both, and this is for the tutorial purposes. It's just a light shade of the color so I can know where it's gonna be. And if you can see, I'm doing the lights, well, the shading like rounded, so it can go along with the object that I'm coloring. So So now it looks harsh, but our work is to be doing that transition between one and the other one subtle, because it shouldn't be so harsh. And again, I want to get some more contrast, so I will be using my darkest shade to create some more strong shadows.
When I was mixing and shading this purple with the orangey yellow light, it started to look great. That meant that I lost saturation, and in this case, I used pink to bring that saturation back that I lost, because we don't want grays in our objects, and that's not what I'm going for.
Okay, so now we are gonna be doing the third one, and my light is gonna be coming from the top, and I'm gonna show you one more tip or trick that you can use to make your highlights even more, to show more if you would like. Now I'm gonna use a red color. I'm gonna map. I'm gonna do daylight again. Sunshine. Depending on how far your light is, that will depend as well on the reflection and the dramatism of the reflection on an object. So the first one is near to the light source, so the first one, the big one, is going to be reflecting more light like the other two. Because these two objects are near, it will create as well some shadows around them. Okay, so the trick that I have to show you to make your light sources even more brighter, I'm gonna use my acrylic pens, and I will be, maybe not this color, is it? Okay. I will be erasing the outlines so it can pop up more. Because I'm doing a demonstration, I am using colors that probably are not that alike, but you'll get the point. And another effect that you can use these acrylic markers, you can use gel pens, you can use Posca pens, you can use whatever to use erase the outlines, but it makes it more intense when we come to talk about the highlight. I want to make my mushrooms shiny. And if you want to make it even more realistic, look at that. What? Okay, even more realistic, you can use do a reflection light. I didn't do it in here, but you will get it when I do it in this part right here. Again, it doesn't need to be accurate or 100% effective, like realistic, but if you are showing the same consistency on the whole objects that you're coloring around, the effect will show and you will get what you're looking for. So this part is supposed for me to be white, but because the light source is right here, it's creating a shadow over the colors. That's why I decided to color it like this tone of brown. And pinkish beige. And the light that we created is not supposed to touch this part because it's under the mushrooms, so it's not accurate or realistic that the light will be touching those, but it is realistic or at least probably that the light will reflect some light or refract some light on these parts. So that's why I'm coloring them with So now you have the reflection light, the highlight, and the shadows. We already did the outlines, so it can look more vibrant or dramatic. And when we're talking about reflections, you will ask me like, but what color should this be? Is it supposed to be white or is it supposed to be any kind of color? Well, it depends on the objects that are around. So suppose that in here we have grass, so we want to use a really subtle tones, almost pastel or muted tones, because the light is reflecting to the grass and the grass is reflecting again the light to the objects around. So I'm gonna use this pastel color. Now I will cover the outlines, and I'm gonna color the grass around. So you get the idea of why I'm using that pastel green. You can use the reflection light in all the objects. I should have done it here, but because I wasn't showing it then, I didn't do it. But if you want to keep the consistency of the illustration, you can do it. These three parts: reflection light, shadow, highlights, and medium tones in the whole image, and that will keep consistency, and that will show your illustration as you would like when we are talking about the light source that you are creating. Okay, so when we're doing day or night light, we are talking about subtle lights or reflection lights with pastel colors, almost white if you can. And if we are doing artificial lights or glowing effects, or fire, for example, any lamp, any TV, any whatever light you can imagine, the colors are gonna be more vibrant. And then when we're talking about, you can use gel pens or any acrylic marker or pen to cover the outlines to make it show more. And then you can do as well a reflection light around the objects. Those are gonna be on the contrary of where the light is coming from, on the opposite side, and those colors are supposed to be what is reflecting from the objects around. And this highlight is not supposed to be more brighter than the highlight itself. Okay, do you get my point? I'm gonna be doing a demonstration on how I color on illustrations by, well, completely, and I'm gonna be doing this one right here.
And we are done. I hope this video took you through all my process when it comes to how they could behave, why coloring with pencils, how to bring more depth and realism into your coloring masterpieces. I tried to apply all the techniques I've shown you, layering, blending, the shadows, the reflected light, and the highlights, so you can see how it comes all together. I hope this video helped you to understand these techniques, and don't worry, this takes time and practice, so be kind of yourself while trying them out. If you like this video, I love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment, and if you like to see more videos like this one, please subscribe to keep learning together. Thank you for watching, thank you for your time, and happy coloring, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.